Coming to you from the Deep South, this is the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast. High-impact leadership is not reserved for leaders, and it has nothing to do with your position, title, or rank. However, it does have everything to do with your character. It's time to climb to the next level and beyond, personally and professionally. Now, let's start making it happen with your host, Mac Story.
Hello, and thanks for listening or watching the Real People Getting Real Results show. And today I got a special guest. I can't wait to introduce Miss Maggie Jean to you. She's coming all the way from Houston, Texas, but that ain't where she's really from. She's an island girl. Welcome to the Real People Getting Real Results show, Miss Maggie Jean.
Oh, Mike, my friend, I couldn't wait to be here with you. Thank you so much, Mac. I look forward to us having a really good time today. Thank you for inviting me.
We're going to have fun. Me and you have lots of laughs through text and phone calls and voice messages, and we have a lot of laughs, don't we?
We sure do. We sure do.
So something I always like to ask people when we get going, and I'm going to ask you, because I like people to know I only feature people that I know some kind of way, indirectly or directly, and I maybe met you indirectly, but then we got to know each other very directly and known you for quite a while. But can you just share with people how did we come to know each other? How do you know Rhea and I?
What a nice question, Mac. But I think your viewers and listeners will not be surprised when I say you're the kind of man and your wife who add value to people, who make people feel better than they think about themselves. So it's going to come to no as no surprise when I tell them the way I met you and how much value you've added to my life. So the two of us are on the John Maxwell team. This is where I got to know you, not personally, but I love the things you would post and I would follow you. And then I became a friend on Facebook and I would follow you. I just love the things you post because it's just so inspiring, and it gives you hope. It really gives you hope and it stretches you. That's one of the things you do for people, even when you don't know it, Mac. But one of the things that really caught my heart and my attention is the way you supported your wife when she was going through that journey, when she was going to court, as often as she went. You were there next to her when she had taken her dad to court because of what he had done to her as a young girl. And I only had pure admiration for you. Because not only did you hold yourself accountable to us, your viewers, you would tell us everything daily, what happened, how Rhea was feeling, what she was undergoing. For me, it was an excruciating time because as a young girl, I experienced something similar, not with my father though, not with my father, but I experienced something similar. And wow. I had nobody to tell. I never had anybody to tell. So no one held nobody accountable. And because of that, you earned yourself and Rhea, y'all earned my respect. And I just fell in love with that couple. And one day out of the blue, I reached out to you. And here we are. I reached out to you, Mike, and I want you to remember. You sent me a message back and you asked me, well, do you have any availability now or the next day? And I was available. I say, I'm available now. He said, okay, do you want to get on the phone? Do you want to get on the call? And that's just who you are as a person. And that I don't want people to listen to this and just bombard you, asking you for your time. You're not selfish with your time. But at the same time, you're not selfish with your time. You want people to use your time well. And that you made that very clear. You made that very clear to me. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing. If you're giving someone your time, you just want to know that they're going to make good use of it. And I hope, Mac, that you have found that I have made good use of the time that you've spent with me. So that's how we got to know each other.
There's no doubt, Maggie. That's why you're on this show, because you are awesome. I got to know you, and you share the same passion I do for helping people. That's why you know how I am and why I am, because you're exactly the same way. And it feels good to help people. And that's the trial you're talking about. That's almost 6 years ago. So you've been following a long time, because we haven't been talking for 6 years. Maybe we've been talking how long? A year or two, maybe now.
Yeah, 2 years now we're talking, but that's how long I've been following you. You see, the thing about me, Mac, when I choose the people that I want to surround myself with, I become loyal, very, very loyal. So even if you didn't know, a loyal follower.
You were lurking in the shadows back there. But I just love you, and anybody who's watching will know why, because you're just awesome. That's why. So I appreciate you sharing that about me and Rhea, and she is awesome. And I hate that you had to go through that, and I'm not going to ask you to share any. I don't know if you shared that because you want to share some of your story. If not, that's fine. But if you were to want to share something, feel free when the time pops in your mind. If not, that's enough what you shared to mention. But I just want to go back before we get into any of that sort of thing. Your personal story, I guess, if you want to share anything about your personal story, your life. But you're an island girl. You're an island girl, and anybody listening can tell you got that accent. They can tell I'm not from the island. I'm from the swamp, maybe. But tell everybody, I know what island. Tell everybody what island and how you got to the United States.
Thank you for asking. I am from the island of Saint Lucia. It's an English-speaking island. And a little over 20 years ago, I made the decision to move over here because my two adult daughters had just moved to come to the US for the education. They both came to university. And I had a son. I have a son also, not had. I have a son. They're all grown men and women now, married with their families. But my son was about leaving, what you call high school here is called secondary school back home. So he was in his last class and he said, "Well, Mom, I want to go meet my sisters." And I told myself, "Hey, you know what? I was already divorced from their father. Why not change my life?"
Yeah.
I had an extremely good job. I was in banking. I
Okay.
was a top executive at at our banking organization, and I decided to leave everything behind and start a new life. If you don't take risk in life, you don't know who you are. You're not growing. And I had nothing to lose, everything to win, nothing to lose. So I didn't actually follow them, but I followed them. Yeah, I followed my children. My son was with me all the time because he was the youngest.
Yeah.
And as soon as he turned 18, 19, he went to the military. And that was it. I have been an empty nester for a very, very long time because it's like about 18, 17 years since my son has left. And that's how I got here. And I've done very well. Done very well, I will admit, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful, and I've surrounded myself with some pretty awesome people like yourself and Ria.
Yeah. That's awesome. So what sort of things have you done since you came to the U.S.? You've been here 20 years. There's probably a lot of things you've probably done a
Yes,
lot.
yes, indeed, yes, indeed, a lot of things. So I worked in the retail industry from the time I got to the US. It was very difficult for me to get in because nobody knew me, nobody knew my abilities, nobody knew what I could do.
Yeah.
So I was challenged to show who I was. And I moved up so very quickly. First, I just had to know the products. And, it didn't take me too long to move up. I started with a small retail company, but then Best Buy came calling.
Yeah. Best
This
Buy,
this
that's not a
so
small one.
yeah this at that time I was managing that smaller company, and they saw this, and somebody said, "Hey, I can help you get over there. Would you like to do that?" I'm like, "No, I'm comfortable here." He said, "No, let me tell you what you would get over there if you follow me."
Oh,
And I decided to make that jump. I started as an assistant manager, and it took me 2 years to become a general manager at Best Buy. And I
2 years.
spent quite some time at Best Buy, and I had a wonderful time. Retail is a beast, but if you change the way if you change your perception of what is really happening, and you want to have fun, you will have fun. And I made it fun. I made it
Yeah.
fun. I have no regrets that I left, because I left Best Buy to go on to something a lot better. Before I left Best Buy, I was already on the John Maxwell team because I wanted to keep growing. And I had a vision for me having my own business. And
Yep.
when I got to know that the John Maxwell team is about personal development and coaching, that was a dream I always had. And I felt that was just right up my alley. So I did it to help myself in my job.
Yep. Yep.
But after 3 years or so, I decided that was it. And in 2018, I joined the John Maxwell team in 2015. And in 2018, I said goodbye to Best Buy. And now
Okay.
I do my business full time. I am a personal development trainer, and I'm a leadership accountability coach, Mac. And I love what I do because it's about people and changing their lives and transforming their lives. And it's about companies and helping them grow, helping them stretch, and helping them be more profitable.
There we go. See, I feel the energy picking up now. We got to the part of the story where the good stuff starts, right? Where about you helping people and watching them thrive. I mean, it does make you feel so good. I
Oh,
know
yes.
because it's just phenomenal. And that's your Ria sharing your website there, Maggie
This
Jean
is my
Coaching. Tell me
website,
about that.
Maggie Jean Coaching. And I love coaching executives. I love coaching middle managers and also the team, because I want middle managers and executives to understand that they can grow. But if you're running a business, it is absolutely very important that the people who are supporting you, they too get that training and they too get that coaching. You want to blow up, you want your business, you want to read the bottom line, and it's a healthy bottom line every year. You've got to invest in your people from the top down. It's only a leader with an attitude of, oh, that's not for me. If that's the attitude, then you really don't have any idea what business is all about.
Yeah. So I think you're the first person I've had on that's formally coaching people, through their business. I can't recall one at the moment. So since you're the first one, especially, can you share with anybody who's watching? Because you know my background. I'm a blue collar guy. I deal with a lot of blue collar folks, and a lot of the blue collar folks have never even heard of the kind of training and development I do, much less getting a coach. So can you just share maybe whatever you want to share about coaching generally, but what does it look like? Why do people do it? If you coach somebody, what does that even mean? You and I know exactly what it means, but there's people listening, they hear the word coach, they think about football or baseball and
Yeah,
that
they
that
think
sort of
about
stuff.
football and they think about
What's it mean in business?
yeah, they think about basketball, but it's an interaction between me and whoever else who've decided that I want more. I can grow to a next level, but I do not know how. I know I have the ability, but I want someone to bring it out. I want someone to help me with my confidence. I want somebody to help me impact other lives. All right. Let me tell you, it's not possible for you to do it all on your own. It's really not. And I'm not saying this so you could jump into to Max website or his LinkedIn and say, hey, I need to get in touch with Maggie. Right. This is a serious program when you decide that you want to be coached, because you have to take action. It's not about me helping you get the tools that you need. You've got to take the action too. And that is where the change begins. Because, Mike, I'll tell you what, Every year, people get up from bed and says, okay, it's a new year. It's I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to do... But you were the same old person who told yourself that last year. And who's policing that? You didn't do it last year. You were that same person who said last year, I want to change. I'm going to get promoted. I'm going to give my family a better home. And you just said it because you know why? You didn't go through the transformative process. You didn't go through the change.
Yep.
There are two different types of goals. When you wake up every year or in the middle of the year and you see you're not where you're supposed to be, there is your personal goal and there is your performance goal. For you to get to the performance goal, something must change within you. This is where you need me as a coach. This is where you need me to hold you accountable to what you say you want and you need. This is where you want me to hold your hands, sometimes gently, sometimes firm. You
Yeah.
need a coach in your life, whether you're an executive, whether you're a middle manager. And of course, Mac, I would say for team members, it's difficult sometimes for middle managers or HR leaders to even spend time with their team members. Why? Because they're so overwhelmed. There's so much going on. And it is a lot cheaper to have your team as, a group getting coaching. Group coaching is a lot cheaper, but so effective.
Absolutely.
Everybody needs a coach.
They do
I
need it.
know
And
of
here too.
someone, I know of someone that you coach, Mac, who's doing extremely well.
Yeah.
Coaching is important in anybody's life. It's just like personal development training. It's very important. It's a process. It's a process. And you've got to think of it. You've got to think of it. And I'm inviting you. I'm inviting you to connect with me so we can talk about coaching. Of course, I have development calls. I have connection calls that are free. The first one is free, but you
Yeah.
got to be serious about your journey. You got to be serious about where you want to go. You got to be serious about your own business.
Let me say something. Let me interrupt you, Maggie.
Sure.
So anybody listening, she just told you, call her. It's free to go call her and talk to her. If you want to get a program, may not be free, but you can call her and talk to her because you're gonna get more value than you pay for with Maggie. I know. I mean, I, I'm hoping some people out there listening really reach out to you, Maggie, because there's a lot of people like you talked about the group coaching. There's a lot of people. Rhea and I really we don't want to get into the coaching, one on one like you do on a schedule. And if somebody was going to schedule me, they'd have to pay if I'm gonna have to get on a schedule because I don't
Yeah.
want to get on the schedule. But that's why I do most of my stuff complimentary like that. We do other stuff, to earn our monies. But somebody like you who's got to get on the schedule, you got to be there, you got to facilitate, you got to prepare, you got to do all that. So I don't want to do all that. I, but I'm glad that you do. But I know a lot of people that I talk to, they need that stuff. And a lot of times when you can come in and you can be the coach, you can be the mentor in the background because usually most leaders are busy managing. Few of them are really busy leading. They're usually busy managing. And you basically would be kind of a surrogate leader to step in for them and help tie things together and get rid of a lot of the stuff causing them frustration. Speak to that. How does coaching eliminate frustration? Because that's what people can attach to that. They didn't understand. Oh, she gonna help me eliminate frustration. Oh yeah, I need to call Maggie. I got some frustration.
So let's just call it what it is. You know, they're firemen, fire women. They're just out in fires all over the place.
Nonstop.
That's what they're doing because there's no structure. They do not prioritize the time. All right, that's a huge, Mac. That is so huge. People have no schedule. Like when I get to work, within this hour or that hour, this is what I'm going to get done. And you stay focused and you know what you're going to get done. But people all over the place because they have no idea what putting the cat before the horse or the horse before the cat. All right. They just have no idea, no clue. But I guarantee you, if people just sit down for a while and really focus on how they use their time, how they prioritize their time, they'll realize that a lot of the things that you're doing as a CEO or an executive leader or a middle manager, you will see clearly that someone else can do this. Someone else can do that. And you can now do what is really important to your role.
Yeah.
And unless you begin to understand that, to let go of the things that are unimportant to you, but important to somebody else or the job, you're going to be spinning your tail all the time. You're not going to go anywhere. You've got to grow. You have to change the way you think. Because if you do not change the way you think, your business is not going to grow. You're not going to grow. You're not going to get promoted. You are only going to grow to the level of your thinking. And that's where I come in as a coach. I help you expand that vision. I help you see further than you ever thought you could see. Because I am coming from the outside. We all have blind spots, Mac. You can correct my blind spots because I don't see everything. Ria can correct your blind spots because you don't see everything.
She
It's just
does.
like those people in the workplace. And sometimes none of them in the workplace can see each other's blind spots. And that's not a ding on anybody. I just want you to know I respect every employee, every leader, every manager. I know you work really hard. But give me an opportunity to help make some changes for you. Changes that's going to give you everything you want. Increase in productivity, help you keep your people safe, and the best thing of all, increase in profitability. That's what you want.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
That's what everybody's chasing in the
That's what
business world.
everybody
They're
wants.
chasing those profits. But a lot of what stops them, Maggie, and you know this, I'm not speaking to you. I'm speaking to the folks who are watching or listening.
Mhm.
But usually it's not competency problems that are holding everybody back. It's the people problems, right? It's people problems at every level, up and down, left and right, 360 degrees. You agree?
I quite agree, Mark. And you know what that is? Because there's no culture. There's absolutely no culture in that organization. Everything is done haphazardly. But who's responsible for that? It starts with the top person. You are the standard bearer for the culture in your organization.
Yep.
And of course, the middle managers, the other managers have to buy into it and they have to lead it. But these are your beliefs. These are the behaviors in your organization. This is the way you make your decisions. This is the way you communicate. You've got to create a healthy culture, create a good vision that everybody is on the same page. Unless you do that,
It's about
ooh, I don't
it's
know.
about the mindset, right? Rhea and I tell everywhere we speak, Maggie, we say we're speaking is different than coaching, obviously, but we're always speaking. We're very seldom coaching, especially in a group. But we always tell people we're there to provoke thought and raise awareness. And that's exactly what you're doing as a coach. You just do it in a completely different way,
In
right?
a different way.
Yep. But it's the same exact end result. It's just a deeper dive.
And I've heard you spoken about culture and character so many times, Mac. It's like you beat that old thing to death because we know that's what matters. Your culture, your character. What kind of characters are you exhibiting in the workplace? Are you one person when you talk to Mac and Ria? And you go into the workplace and you're totally different person? Do you honor your team? Do you respect your team? Or how about yourself as the leader?
Yeah.
How do you do it? And believe you me, this is not knocking anybody, all right? This is not about knocking it. We just want you to see the blind spots, the things that we know that we can see. And we just want you to get better. That's all it is. A coach
Yeah.
doesn't want you to. You think if you hire me or Mac, we want you to get worse? No. We're walking alongside you because we want you to get better. That's what it is. I guarantee you that you work with a coach, you begin to get better. Your family, you treat your family better. Your family benefits from it. Your business, undoubtedly, your community, everybody who surrounds you get better. Try
Everybody
it.
wins.
Everybody wins.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yep. You know, Rhea and I were just speaking to a group the other day. I don't know if you've ever heard me say this, Maggie, but you can relate to it, and maybe it'll spark some thought in you to do what you do, share some more good stuff. But a lot of times when we're speaking pretty early on in the speaking to the group, I'll ask them a question. I'll say, how many of you are sitting here today? You know, a couple of days ago, it was an hour and a half talk we had. And I asked we were there for an hour and a half. I said, how many of you really hope that you invest an hour and a half with us and your life gets worse? How many of you, and everybody always laughs. That's why I ask them. I'm setting them up, Maggie, but they don't know it's coming. So I say, how many of you sitting in here hope your life gets worse? And they always usually laugh. Nobody raises their hand. And I'll say, look around. Nobody raised their hand. So we're going to tell you some stuff that's going to make your life better, because we're assuming if you don't want it to get worse, you want it to get better. But I said, y'all thought that was funny what I asked a while ago. Y'all wondering why he asked such a stupid question. I said, well, let me ask you a serious question. I said, you ain't got to answer this one. But when's the last time you made a choice that made your life worse? Because people think it's funny that I say, who wants their life to get worse? Nobody. But when's the last time you made a choice? This afternoon, this morning, on the way home from work, right? It's about choices. And that's part of what you do as a coach. I know I've never been in one of your coaching sessions formally, but I know that's what you're trying to help people develop that mindset where they're thinking about the choices and, more importantly, the consequences that flow from those choices. Because the life you want for people, same as me, only thing between that life that these people want are choices.
Yes.
That they got full ability to change the way they make choices. You agree?
Absolutely agree. Absolutely, Mac. That's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
You become a thinking partner.
We are thinking partners. You and I. You are a
we
thinking
are.
partner too. You and Rhea probably go out there and speak. We speak the same thing. I'm just doing it, in a different way from you. You're going out there and you're speaking to a ton of people for a little while. I will coach a group for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Depends on how many people in the session. Or I am coaching one-on-one 45 minutes. But we're both doing the same thing. It's just that I go deeper. The thing about the people who come to your coaching sessions, or my coaching sessions rather, they already have the answers. They're so scared to pull it out. They're so scared to see that mirror. You can hold up that mirror. But if you are with them, they feel a lot more confident. They feel a lot safer. A person is really going to help, but you have to make up your mind to want it. I cannot want it more than you. I cannot want it more than you. But I'm speaking to you out there, who are CEO, you who are a business owner, you who are a middle manager, you manage people. You have to do better. You who want to get promoted, you want to give your family a better home, you want a different car this year. But you got to work for it. But you can't do the same things over and over again. You need a coach in your life.
Yep.
You need a coach, and you can't do the same things. Like next year, you're going to do the same. This is New Year's what do they call the thing they do for New Year? I don't even remember.
New Year's resolution. The resolution.
I don't even remember it because I don't do that. New Year's
I don't
resolution.
do it either. But I make a lot of stuff happen, Maggie. I don't have to do that to make something happen.
Who's doing New Year's resolution? You made those New Year's resolutions last year. It didn't last you 6 months or 3 months or maybe not even 6 weeks. And yet you want to make them again this year?
Same thing.
Who's policing that? You're that same old law. You're the same officer who's going to challenge yourself? No, you didn't do it last year. You wouldn't do it this year.
Maggie, let me ask you a question. I want you to tell me a story. And I know you've got some. And it could be from your own life. It could be you, or it could be a client that you don't have to share their name or anything like that. But tell me a story of where you went in. So either somebody coached you or you went in and coached somebody and they didn't even know what coaching was, right? Maybe they're a company or somebody hired you to speak to them. And and they actually got results. They didn't know what was coming. Can you paint a picture? And it could even be a composite of a bunch of different people, but just tell some kind of story, because a lot of people really don't even know what it looks like, what it feels like, what kind of change do people have, that sort of thing.
Oh, yes, Mac. And I have quite a few of those, but there's one that is just so meaningful to me because now I could see, you see, when you have a rose and it begins to bud and it opens up and it's so beautiful. So I went to this small, it's a small organization. They're like, they have about 45 people, 45, 46, but they do have an HR leader. And the HR leader or the HR director, she was a good human being, a good person, but wasn't aware a lot of the things that she needed to do as HR. Okay. But she cared about people. She just didn't know the next steps, including what coaching was all about. And
Yeah.
somehow a friend of mine connected me with the business owner so I could go do some training. And I did. And I always leave the people that I work with one thing. Okay, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to come and train your people. All right. And I know that investment will last for a while. I know they enjoyed it. But it's just not going to last as long as coaching. Why? Because this is the most transformative tool on the face of this earth for change. And I told him, based on what was going on and the questions being asked, I can see the need for his HR leader to begin the process of coaching. So now she can elevate everybody around her, all the other middle managers and everybody. She will have that skill now to elevate everybody around her. And Matt, that is one of this is one of the best things I ever did for that organization. Up to now, I still coach her. This is going on 2 years. Oh my God, I think I'm her best friend at work.
Well,
Because
let me clarify real quick, Maggie. You just said you've been coaching that HR manager for 2 years. Is that right?
it's 2 years. It's 2 years and a little bit now.
Okay. I mean,
There's
it's some periodic amount you go there. The reason I'm asking is, again, a lot of people watch, they don't even know. They may think of coaching is one time, like you said, or it might be once a month, but it just kind of goes away. But some people, the really high achievers, they have kind of coaches for life. Like those really high achievers, they may have multiple coaches. They may have a fitness coach. They may have a professional coach. Some people got all kind of coaches, right?
Mhm.
But anyway, go back to your story. I just want to make sure people didn't miss
Yes.
that.
So I coach her twice monthly, and we coach via Zoom because it's a drive. It's a drive. If she really does need to see me in person, I certainly do that. No qualms, because I love to drive. The reason why I love to drive because my car is a university. When I drive, I'm listening to something. Maybe since you introduced me to Myron Golden, maybe when I'm driving, I'm listening to a Myron Golden YouTube. You know what I mean? Sometimes
He'll
I
charge
listen
you.
to you, Mac. Sometimes I
Yeah.
listen to you on Spotify when I'm driving because I'm always putting stuff in my head. I'm not going to just sit in my car and just, waste my time like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me tell you how this lady has changed. This lady has just blown up. The people around her are different. They work differently. There's a sense of joy. There's a sense of, there's a new air of confidence in that office. I'm telling you, the people they hire now are different. The people they hire, because now they know, because I remember having a conversation with her where I told her, even though you're HR, if you do not like the process of hiring, give it to somebody else. You don't have to do everything. My God, it felt like a weight was lifted off of her because she felt now she had permission to do. I said, you always do. There are other people in your organization that can grow alongside you. You don't have to do everything. Do things that are really important to the organization, and let the other people do other things that are important but at their level. And now you can take some weight off your executive director while your executive director really go into his thinking mode to grow this business. Oh my goodness, this was like a relief. It was like a new leash of life for this lady. I tell you, this, everything has changed about her. Even her hairstyle has changed. Everything has changed about. I'm not kidding when I say her hairstyle. Everything has changed about her. Everything, man. She
She's grown.
feels empowered. She feels empowered to lead. All she needed was someone to help her dig into her with all the questions in the world, all the questions. And she's just different,
Yeah.
hiring different people now.
Because she's different. She sees everyone else different. She sees herself different. And
Mhm.
it's a big piece of the problem, or the puzzle, if you want to call it that, of hiring the wrong people. A lot of people do that, but because they're not, because they're bad people, they're just not qualified, meaning they haven't grown and developed themselves to be the type of person who can attract and retain high impact people, especially as
People.
formal authority leaders. But people in the HR role, it's one thing we tell our clients, because a lot of companies, the the people actually doing the hiring, whether it's a supervisor or somebody, some places are like that. Supervisors hire their own folks, and then sometimes HR hires the people and then distributes them out to the managers. But the number one thing is, whoever's actually doing the one-on-one hiring process, those people need to be growing and developing themselves, because they need to raise up their level of awareness, their character. Definitely need to raise their character, because of who we are is who we attract. A lot of our clients, Maggie, they say, we don't, how do you hire people of high character? First thing is, you got to be a person of high character, or they're now never going to have an interest in you whatsoever, because they're going to see right through you, the way you shake hands or either don't shake hands, the way you talk to them or don't talk to them, the way you interact with people while they're there being interviewed by you. And one thing folks who don't have a high degree of character don't understand, people with a high degree of character are interviewing the interviewer while they're being interviewed. And so what you're talking about, I understand that. A lot of people may be listening when you were saying that, she felt empowered, she could make changes, she didn't want to do this process, and she realized, now I can hand that off to someone else, use that as a developmental tool. A lot of people say, well, all she had to do was do it. That's true. All she had to do was do it, but she didn't even understand that she could or that she should. And there's a lot of people listening to this thinking, well, that's just common sense. But there's a lot of people listening who could have a better life, that all they got to do is do something different than they're doing today, but yet they don't do it any different. There's a lot of people going to waste time on TV 20, 30, 40 hours a week instead of investing in themselves, right?
Exactly. Because initially she didn't feel like she needed to be coached. She thought uh, that
Why
was
me?
below her. She felt that was below her because I'm the HR leader or HR director, and you're talking to me about coaching. How about these people over there? So she's pointing fingers. The finger you should point is at you. I want to help you, help these people get better. Now, as I'm doing this for you, I'm working on these people too. And when we had the first two sessions, she began letting her shoulders down and all of that kind of thing. But she didn't just welcome it. It was a challenge for her because she felt that was, she knew it all. And that behavior, we need to kick that behavior out of the door. We don't know it all. No,
No,
we don't. Nobody knows it all. That's why we're in community. Nobody knows it all. It's impossible.
that's why we're reading every
Impossible.
day, listening every day, watching videos. That's why you and I, we do that ourselves, right? Nonstop. But most people don't do that. Most people don't. And what you said a minute ago about that person thinking, it wasn't for me, it's for someone else, and that's an ego trip for a lot of people. But when I'm sharing with people about something like that, especially about coaching, again, we don't really do that much one-on-one coaching, but I do a fair amount of mentoring and some coaching one-on-one. And when I'm talking to a high impact person like you're talking about, especially someone high up the org chart, and I sense what you're just described, where they feel like, I'm above that, that's below me. I think about, I just use it. I'm sure you use it too. That common analogy of, well, think of the best athlete in any sport. They still got a coach. They got a bunch of coaches, actually. Most of the top athlete in any sport, they're one of those people. They've got multiple coaches. They got one for for the sport that they're in, and maybe multiple ones for the sport. And then they got a strength and training coach, and they got a wellness coach, diet, and that sort of stuff. And they probably got all kinds of other coaches. They probably got financial coaches. They got all kind of coaches, right? So that's why I was saying those highest achievers, they're not the ones that think I don't need a coach. They're the ones that think I need multiple coaches.
And you know the thing about those high performers, and they do it, and they do it, and they repeat, and they repeat, rinse, repeat. They do it over and over and over and over again. That's how they get good. You don't do it just once. Like, she's with me 2 years. It's just a little over 2 years now. You know, do you think we speak about the same things all the time? No, because there are different things that arises in the organization. And you know, sometimes we even talk about, I am not a counselor, so I don't counsel her, but sometimes there's something personal about you that's affecting people on the job, and we got to talk about that, you know. So yeah, you have to. It's important. It's really, really vital for the health of the organization, Mac. You know that when you, Mac, go out there and you speak, you choose what you're going to speak on, because you now want these people. You want to know that you left them better than you found them. All right, we're checking the pulse. We're checking the health of your organization. The organization is your people. You want it? Come on, you got to spend the time and put in the money to do it. All right, you got to do it. So I love what I do, Mac. I love what I do. And if anybody feel like, you know, I'm not a good client to coach, then I'd ask them, well, are you open to taking a DISC report? All right, it's a personality assessment, because with that assessment, it tells me so much about you. It tells you a lot about yourself too.
Yeah.
But it will also give me the results of where your opportunities lie. So if you truly think that you're not a good candidate, all I'll ask is for you to give me an opportunity to do a DISC report of you. Yes, you would have to pay for it, because I have to buy the key codes. You have to pay for it. But if you're interested in knowing about you, the way you communicate, the way you do certain things, and where are your strong points and where are your opportunities, then we can see. Because if you really don't believe you have any opportunities, then that will be your story right here with the DISC report. I didn't do it. You did. You answered the question. So it's easy for us to talk about it. Now, if you're a progressive thinking person, and if you're that kind of person who believe in expansion and want to grow, you know, you'll decide, yeah, I want to do that. I need that. I need that for myself. I need that for my people. That's what it is. I think Rhea does DISC. Doesn't Rhea do DISC?
She doesn't. We've both been through training on it. We familiar with it. You know, anybody who's not listening, just tell them just real quick what is DISC, like the DI. The L. I know what it is. I want you to share about it though. Because you know, it's a personality profiling, but there may be people listening don't even know what that's really talking about. So what does that mean, DISC?
Thank you for asking, Mac. Thank you for asking. Well, I am certified with the John Maxwell team. I'm certified and licensed to be a coach, to be a team trainer, and I'm also certified with the John Maxwell team as a DISC consultant. DISC is a personality profile, all right? And the D stands for dominant, whether you're dominant and you're a leader. The I stands for motivator, influencer. The S stand for a steady kind of person, just a steady person. And the C is for a very competent, accurate individual. You want to know who you are? Then you take a DISC. When you get this report, it's going to also talk to you a lot about it brings a lot of awareness and insight, first of all right? It brings a lot of awareness. It goes deep. You only need to set aside 10 minutes or less, and this thing goes deep, all right? And apart from bringing all this awareness to you, you begin to understand how you want people to communicate to you, because sometimes a lot of issues you have at work, Mac, is all about communicating with people, because we don't know how to communicate with people, because we don't know why people respond the way they respond, and why they just, you know, cower the way they do, because we don't know how to talk to them. You want to get better results? Get to know how to talk to your people. Get to know how to communicate with them. Then on that same DISC report, you'll really know your strengths. because we all have strengths and we all have opportunities. So let's say you're a stronger person as an analyst, you're very analytical, and there's this other person who's more inspirational. If you want to have a come to Jesus conversation with one of your your team members, your employees, I would suggest that you don't do that on your own. You find that person who is a little more inspirational, and you can sit that person with you. You can have the two of you have that conversation with that team member. Because you're so, analytical, you might be a little critical. And although this is a growth conversation with that person, but it's the way it comes out. So my suggestion is, because you know the styles of the people in your workplace, you bring along a more inspirational people, and you two people now have that conversation. So that person does not feel like, holy Lord, you just hammered me, man. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And then that same report tells you, these are your opportunities. If you think you don't have opportunities, we all do. We all have blind spots.
And
We
they're all in
all
the
have
same
blind
exact
spots.
spot, Maggie, right here between us and the mirror.
I
That's
have blind spots right now.
we all have them, and they're always in the same spot between us and the mirror. Doesn't matter who we are; they're in the exact same spot.
When they're always in the same spot, Mac, you are.
But
You're
you
too
believe that?
funny.
You believe that, Maggie?
Say that again.
Do you believe that? That's true, right?
It is true. It
That's
is. You're
exactly
very
where they
correct.
all
They're
are.
always in the same spot. They're not leaving. They ain't going nowhere. You just not so aware of it. Somebody else sees it. Somebody else sees it. Now, don't be too arrogant and, oh, that's not true. Oh, what can I do about it? How can you help me?
Yep. Yep.
Especially in this environment where there's so much tension and mental health concerns and all of that. The least we can do is come down and ask a question. Yeah, you saw that? Oh, I'm sorry. What do you think I can do about that?
Yeah.
Well, there's this lady called Maggie Jean. You can probably talk to her.
Yep. Maggie,
There's a doctor for that.
what's some of your favorite quotes or thoughts, principles that you share with people, or that
Oh, Mag,
impacted you? I know you've got some. Drop some golden nuggets on folks who are watching or listening.
there are so many. Well, of course, Mag, I'm not going to hesitate to tell you how much I love the Lord. I may not know everything there is in the Bible, but I do know some things in the Bible. So I have a lot of nice Bible verses. And I'm not going to impose the way I feel about that part of my life on anybody here. So I'll share something else, some quotes that I love. Like, I love, all you can do is all you can do. And all you can do is all you can do. That's a great one.
Yeah.
That's a great one, because sometimes, all I can do is all I can do. You go to train an organization and some people just don't get it, so you get a first check with them and they never bring you back. And
Yeah,
you
they don't want it.
realize that they just don't get it. They just don't see it. And no matter how you try, whatever angle you use, you just don't get it. They just don't get it, man.
Happens all the time.
All the time. All the time. There's this other one I love, and I just wrote it because I don't remember I don't remember. It's by Eric Hoffer, and I just wrote it down for someone 2 days ago. 2 days ago, I think. Where did I put it? I can't even remember what I did with it, Mac. But
That's
it's
all
by
right.
Eric Hoffer, because there's so much of what Eric Hoffer talks about happening in the world right now. There's so much of it. It's about I don't want to butcher it. But it's by Eric Hoffer. It talks about the learned will soon realize that there's not really a place for them in this world, because they know everything and they refuse to unlearn what they already know. All right. So it's important for all of us to think about the things that we've known in the past, we know now, and take a deep view of it and ask yourself if it's not about time that you begin to change your thought about some things. And that's what I really like about Eric Hoffer. I'm kind of on the spot now, but you know how much I like quotes. I love quotes
Yeah.
because they're inspiring, and they help you have a new vision on things, and they help you have a new mindset. That's what quotes do for you. They really, like, you write your own quotes. Sometimes you write.
Oh yeah.
There are times that there are times your quotes like just give me a kick in the butt, and I'm like, come on, Mac.
Yeah.
Did you have to do that to me? But you see, again, Mac, if you write a quote and nobody pays, well, somebody just reads it and don't do anything about it, especially if it's as powerful as that, then you're not really learning anything.
Yep.
You want to get something from it and take action.
I'm gonna get real. She's in the background back there. Everybody who's watching me and you talk, they may not know she's the one operating everything. But I'm gonna ask her to type that quote. I know the quote you're talking about from Eric Hoffer. We
Yes.
share it a lot, and Ria usually shares it. I don't want to butcher it either. I think I know it, but I don't know it exactly. I don't know if she can type it in the bottom and let it scroll across right there. But it's talking about not, people who ain't willing to change will eventually find themselves
She's gonna
in a
get it. I
position
know
to
if I
deal with
go
a
to her
world
camp
that no
now.
longer exists. Yep.
So, yes,
Yep.
that's
That's it. Yeah. She
That's
shares
it.
that a lot. We shared a lot. I quoted in several of my books. I can't remember it exactly at the moment, but
Yes.
I know she knows it because she says it about every time we speak.
But
So that's
it's a powerful quote, Mac. It's a very, very powerful quote, and we have to really dig into it and dissect it. So I'd be very glad if Ria put it up, because as you know, people watch this podcast, they could look at it and think into it, because it's very nice, and it will always be relevant for the times. Those are old men of old. We didn't even know if we would ever walk this earth when these men were on the earth, and this is still relevant up to a day like today.
Yep, that's what's so good about principles. They don't ever get old because there have been people problems ever since there have been people. Same exact problems. It just shows up in a different way. But people used to not have the internet, or they didn't have the cell phones, but they were still people, and they still had problems interacting with other people. And people been killing people, people been mad at each other, people been doing people wrong forever. Nothing new, right?
Mac, I hope our listeners heard you just say that. That's the thing about principles. They never get old. I hope they really caught that. And
Yep.
I hope, at least, if they don't take anything away from this podcast, because this is so important. Principles are important from home, from in your work, in school, in your church. It just really forms your life. Really important. Thanks for
Yeah.
sharing that.
There it goes. In times of change,
Yes,
learners will inherit the earth, while those who have learned will find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists. And
exist.
I
Yep.
read that off for the folks who are listening on the podcast, because a lot of people listen, even though we put it on video on the Blue Collar Leadership YouTube channel. A lot of people still prefer to listen to the podcast, so it comes out in both places. But that quote right there is powerful.
In times of change, learners will inherit the earth, while those who have learned will find themselves beautifully equipped with what with a
To deal with a
deal.
world that no longer
Yeah,
exists. Yep,
that's a
because
powerful quote.
things changing around us constantly, and those who are willing to learn and grow, like you're talking about, your coaching clients, that's what they're doing. They're learning and growing. They're going to inherit the earth. That means they're going to inherit the future. While those who have learned something in the past, who are resting on what they learned, they're going to become beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists, because they maintain the status quo. They were not willing to grow and change, and a lot of people find themselves left behind. There's no doubt. If you went into an office, Maggie, and this is one of those common sense things, but if you went into an office where, let's say, there were two people doing kind of the same job, maybe they had two managers at just a certain level in an organization. One of them is just kind of coasting along. They got their college degree. They did all their schooling. Now they just working. They come in, do the same thing every day. They hoping for a raise and all that sort of stuff. And then one of them finds out about Maggie, and anybody listening, Jean is Maggie's last name. So it's not a first name and a middle name, not Maggie Jean like a lot of people think it is. Maggie is your first name, Jean is your last name. But I'm going to say your whole name because if somebody finds out about Maggie Jean coaching, one of those persons, it's obvious. Anybody with common sense that does not even know about coaching, who ain't never heard it until they watch this video today, anybody with common sense would say the one who goes through coaching is going to leave the other one behind. They're going to get promoted. They're going to get raises. They may have to leave that company to get promoted because they may outgrow that company, or they may be able to grow within that company, or they may go start their own company. But that other one's going to be left behind because they've just coasted.
Mac, that brings to my attention something very, very important. So this guy you just described, with all his degrees and whatever it is, all he knows is to plod, put his head down and use all the technical skills that he learned to do that with. But he's applying absolutely zero soft skills. Notice he's not engaging with anybody. He's not saying hello. He's not doing something, more than he's not doing anything else to help that company be apart from others, because he has chosen to just use his technical skills, what he went to school to do, and then he thinks that he's the best thing since sliced bread. And again, my folks who are listening to me, please, I'm not condemning you for who you are, but I just want to help you expand your thinking, because that's not right. You've got to marry the technical skills with the soft skills. Soft skills is that's not taught. You must have that. You must bring that. That's why Mark is telling that story. That other person who comes to work will be ahead of him, because that other person didn't only bring the technical skills, they brought something that was unique to them, different. And they gave you more. They gave you more. You want more? You want your organization to rise, because, a rising tide lifts all boats. Come on now. We can help you. Mark does the teaching. Maggie does the coaching. Rhea does her thing. Come on, guys. You want growth?
All right, Maggie Jean, we about to wrap up this hour. You got anything that you didn't share, or anything I didn't ask that you'd like to talk about? Anything on your heart?
Mike, I just want to I really want to tell you thank you for who you are. I want to tell you how much I appreciated it when that day you spent, it's like you spent almost the whole day pouring into me, telling me what you do, what your model is with the books that you write. And you saw in me exactly what you're doing. Maggie, you can write a book, and you ask me for a specific topic that I could think of writing right now. It's just that I tell myself that's not my thing. I don't want to write a book. I know I can write many books. I just sent you an ebook. I can expand on that and do something.
Yeah.
But I choose to just do my coaching. But I just want to tell you how much value you add to people's life. And by expansion, those people who really appreciate what you do for them, they multiply their lives, because they take what you've given them and they just share it. You know how many times I speak about you and Rhea? And I'm proud to go out there and speak about you and Rhea, because you're my true friends. Friends who just make me feel valued. Friends who've introduced me to their own business partners, where I come along with you every first Saturday of the month and join you,
Yep.
and grow other people, because you gave me that opportunity to join you to do that. Selfish people don't do that. People who see the big picture, people who see more and far, do that. not the selfish ones. They can't do that because they holding on tight to the thing they have because they think that's all there is. There
There's
isn't
only
more
so
privilege.
much.
So yeah, so I just want to tell you and Rhea, thank you for who you are. Thank you for seeing me and for, encouraging me to do a lot more than I have done. Thank you for removing a certain little fear I had inside of me because, I kept talking about, oh, people are going to understand my accent.
I love your
And Mac
accent.
would say, no, Maggie, they're going to love your accent.
I got the accent people don't like.
So I just want to tell you, thank you for who you are. I really do appreciate you. You are a true friend, and you are the kind of person who really want to see people grow. You really, really do. So I
Absolutely.
just wish you and Ria the very best and keep growing, keep transforming lives because the world is waiting for you.
All right. Well, thank you, Maggie, for coming on and investing your time with us. We don't spend time with anybody. We invest time with the folks we interact. And so, thank you for those kind words. And I do want you to succeed, and I want you to keep climbing because I know your heart. That's why we really only invest time with people who want to grow, because people who don't want to grow don't call us. They don't reach out. They don't stay connected. And people come and people go, but you've been sticking with us long before we even knew you were with us, and you're growing and climbing, which makes you a better person. It makes you a better friend, makes you a better mother, makes you a better coach. Everything. That's why we always got to get better. And I know you're always striving to get better. I'll share some of those links with you sometimes when I find some cool stuff, and you'll come back and tell me you watched it and you got something out of it. And there's some people that I share stuff with, I never hear from them, but it don't take long. They don't get any more stuff shared with them because I ain't got time to be sharing it with people who don't even care about it. But so I really appreciate you as well. And I wish you the best of success. And I hope some of the folks, I'm telling you, if you're just curious, if you're just watching this, you really don't know about coaching, you're just curious, go call Maggie. Her number's there. Ria, maybe stick it up before I drop off. There it is. If you're on the podcast listing, it's 281-838-2959, and talk with Maggie. If you just want to talk with Maggie because you like the way she sounds and you think she's an awesome person, she is an awesome person, and she'll be happy to talk with you. And you never know. You might be able to help her. She might be able to help you.
Yes.
But together, all of us who want to help people are going to make this world a better place to live in. And that's the shared mission that Rhea and I and Maggie have. And all the other people you see on the Real People Getting Real Results show on the YouTube channel and the podcast, that's what it's all about. All of us in our own way, we're all different, but we also have a lot of shared values. We're trying to help other people. So thank you, Maggie.
Thank you, Matt.
I hope somebody does call you, email you, get on your LinkedIn and all that kind of stuff. So for everybody listening, we're going to wrap it up today. It's been a pleasure to share Maggie with you, and talk to you next time.
Talk to you all soon. Thank you, Mike.
Make it happen or someone else will. It might as well be you. Are you serious about taking your career and your life to the next level and beyond? Check out Mac Story's Blue Collar Leadership series books and others, now available on audio, along with paperback and ebooks at Amazon, iTunes, and Audible. Please visit bluecollarleadership.com to learn about Mac's books, programs, special offers, certifications, and more. Thank you for listening to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast.